All right, welcome everybody. Let's get started. Thanks for coming today. My name's Don Campbell, co-founder of GetFiveStars. I also have Mike Blumenthal and Thomas Hash from GetFiveStars with me, in case any questions come up that you guys have. But you know what? Today, the purpose of this webinar is just to we wanted to get a dialogue going about new features, and we're always adding new features based on your great suggestions. And we wanted to have just a way to share those with you and kind of give you an update. And one of the ways we're doing that is on our blog. Anytime now that we add new features to GetFiveStars, where we put it on our blog, and then we're going to do this webinar every month too, just to kind of take you guys through the new features if you're interested in seeing how they work or if you have any questions about them. And so that was really the purpose of today. Is our first webinar where we're going to go through the features. And depending on the questions that come up today, we can do more webinars, but at least we'll do one every month, just kind of taking you through the new things that we're adding, because we're hard at work. As so many people are using the system now and coming with great suggestions, we're constantly tuning it based on your suggestions, also based on things that are happening in the industry. And we follow that stuff very closely. So let's get started, and I will give you sort of like an overview of some of these new features. At any time along the way, if you want to ask questions, feel free. There's a questions box in the GoToWebinar control panel. You can go ahead and ask a question in there. We'll be watching for your questions and make sure to get them answered. So anything at all that comes up, just let us know. All right, great. So I am going to get this presentation started. And basically, I think, since everyone here is a GetFiveStars customer, then you're already familiar with what the system can do. If you have any questions about it along the way, that, anything that you were struggling with or had a question about, feel free to ask and we can go into it. But basically, GetFiveStars helps you automate the process of gathering feedback from your customers, right? And identifying that feedback and finding out who your happy customers are and finding out if you have anyone that's not happy, and then building, a better relationship with them and more online reviews too. So all these features I want to talk about today are to that end. There's things that we've found to streamline some process in the system or add some new way of making things, easier or better. And on the blog at GetFiveStars, it's called blog.getfivestars.com. We have a few blog posts, and I'll just give you a flavor of that here. I've been blogging about all these new features. So here's the blog post. I'm going to show you a demo. But what I'm trying to do here is come up with a nice little blog post that summarizes the new features. And you'll see, we're going to talk about a lot of these things today. And I just break it up, provide some screenshots. And I just had so many people say, wow, you guys are creating all these great new features and you're not telling us about it. So we wanted a way to kind of keep you guys updated. So this blog post on blog.getfivestars.com, there's several of them now, and we're just going to keep adding to there, and then every month we'll do the webinar and show you guys what we've got. All right, so the first feature I want to talk about is this performance report. And the performance report is something that we came up with as a way to just provide a really easy to use dashboard to say, where am I at right now? So, or if you're an agency who is working with a lot of other businesses and you're helping them with GetFiveStars, then maybe you want a way to provide something like this to your customers to help them understand. And basically, we set out to make this kind of like the one place you could go to quickly get a feel for how am I doing with my customers? Like, how happy are they? How many promoters do I have? And then how many feedback requests have I sent? And you can do this over the past, 30 days or over the lifetime or past 7. We have a few different settings there. But it allows you to go in, and I'm going to actually just show you a demo here of what this looks like. Give me 1 second while I fire this up. Here it is. So basically the way you'll find it is when you go into your customer dashboard. So that's what I'm in right here, and I can always tell where I'm at by this breadcrumb. Go into your customer dashboard. We've got a new message up here that is just temporarily kind of letting you know about the new feature, so you can just press that to go in, or you can always go to Reports, Performance Report. And this is going to take you directly to the performance report. And we worked with some designers to create something that we thought looked really, really good. And we wanted to make this more than just a report. We wanted to make it something that was also kind of interactive. So, for example, here, depending on where your score is in terms of the Net Promoter Score, we would give you some different guidance over here. In this case, the Net Promoter Score is really high, which is great. And we kind of give you some idea. We're going to start making it easy for people to understand, what does this mean? Why is the Net Promoter Score important? And then further down the report, we have kind of like, what have you done in this period? And by the way, the period is set up here along the top. So I can change, right now it defaults to lifetime. I can also pick past 30 or past 7, and I just click on that to change all the stats on the report, right? So I'll go back to lifetime just to show you, because I have more data there. When I scroll down, it tells me, hey, I've sent 66 feedback requests. I've had an open rate of 100%, which is not typical. This is a demo account. And then I got a certain number of online reviews too. And these are also interesting. So, these provide tips basically, and these change based on what my score is. So if my score was low here, I might get sort of a suggestion or an alert. And so we're trying to make it interactive and give you guidance along the way, so that you can, just makes it easy. So Alex is asking a question. Can you add the number of feedbacks received to this report? Basically, yeah. You know what we're going to do, Alex? That's a really good idea. It's a good point. One of the things we're planning to do is up in this section, we want to add something that says, here's how many promoters you have. So if you're familiar with the Net Promoter Score, the whole idea behind it is, I'll show you this little chart. Basically, anyone who rates you a 9 or a 10 is basically called a promoter. And basically, they're rating you based on the question, how likely is it that you would recommend our business to a friend or a colleague? And if they rate you a 9 or 10, that means in general they're really, really happy. And they're probably telling people about you. A 7 or an 8 means that they're not happy, but they're not unhappy. Nothing's wrong, but maybe they're not telling anyone about you. And then anything that's 6 or less is basically a detractor. And as you go further down this scale, it might even be saying bad things. And so this is by the way, a score that all the big companies use. You'll see how the big companies use the Net Promoter Score as a way to measure their customer relationships, customer satisfaction. And it was created by Bain and Company and Satmetrics. So it's pretty standardized scale for this kind of thing. But anyway, what we're planning to do is put how many promoters do you have up in this section so that you know who your promoters are. But I hear you. What you're asking for is feedback request received. We do have that information now. If you go to the customer feedback report, though, we have all that data, like more of a drill down. So basically, it will tell you feedback requests sent, how many responses did you get, what's your average score, who are your promoters, who is passive, and who are your detractors. And what's nice about this is you can just click right here and say, what happened with this guy? Like, what was the problem there? And so that report is it's called the customer feedback report. This performance report is really meant to be sort of like an at a glance, how am I doing? And then I can drill in to get more detailed information in some of the other reports. The other thing we show on this report is something we call the reputation saver. And one big thing that we're finding is if you take the time to question, to basically ask your customers for feedback after the sale or after the interaction, proactively asking them, it avoids a lot of negative reviews, because sometimes just weird things happen that you don't even realize, and you don't know somebody's upset. And 90% of the time, it's just a simple misunderstanding. If you catch it early, you can avoid the negative review and keep that customer. And so this is a tricky section because people don't like to see red numbers here, but it's actually a good thing because it means that you proactively found an issue and were able to, hopefully address it before it turned into something worse, like you lost the customer or you got a negative review from it. Chuck is asking, do I need to have a business set up for the customer dashboard link to show? Yeah, Chuck, let me just go address that real quick. Basically, when you first log in to Get5Stars, you're going to be sitting on the business dashboard. And really, that's all of your locations, all of your business locations. And maybe it's just one. It might only be one. Or if you're managing multiple businesses, then it might be more than that. But basically, this dashboard will show you all of your businesses. And what I did is I clicked in to the business location that I want to manage, and that's how I get the customer dashboard. And for a given business location, this is where you're going to be spending your time, really, is just basically importing your customer list into here or adding your customers one by one, which is really easy to do. And then you can manage them from this list. And this list will tell you how many how many customers you have. I can go and say how many positive feedbacks. I don't know if you guys are using this advanced search, but this is a really handy way to filter through and say, show me all my positive feedback, or just show me all my negative feedback if I have any. Right, here's 3. Or show me feedback requests that I sent but haven't been answered yet. Or show me feedback requests that I haven't even sent yet. Like, these are basically customers where maybe I've added them to the system, but I haven't sent any feedback. So it's just a nice way to be able to slice and dice your data in the customer dashboard. But I hope that answered your question, Chuck. Alex is just following up on the previous thing about the performance report, saying he feels like it would just really complete the data. So I hear you, Alex. Basically, I think what you're saying is on the performance report, it would be great to know how many feedbacks you actually received, because what we're showing here is how many requests you sent and what the open rate was, but you're saying on this report it'd be great to see like how many feedbacks did I actually get. So that's an excellent point, and I think that's something we can do. I just need to figure out where to put it on the report. I think you're right, though. It makes sense. Mark's asking, would it be possible to upload NPS data from other platforms? Well, Mark, you know what? Yes, I would want to understand what that meant. There's a couple things we can do. If you already have a body of testimonials that you've got, maybe you were using some other system, we can actually import those. We don't give you a function to do that in the dashboard because we didn't want people to mistakenly upload all of their Yelp reviews or something like this and then create a duplicate content problem. But if you have customer information already, like NPS scores, we have the way to import those. We'd have to do it for you, but we would be able to import that for you. Or if you're talking about interacting with a different system via an API, let us know. We can figure that out too. Just maybe if you could follow up, Mark, after this with an email to support@getfivestars.com, then we can work with you on that. Scott saying he likes the dashboard. Well, thank you, Scott. We worked really hard on that. It was a lot of fun, actually, to work with the designer on that one. So that was the performance report. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the new feedback email design. So we had a lot of feedback from you guys, or from, I don't know if it was you exactly, but many customers said, hey, I would like more control over the branding in my emails, and I would like maybe a new modern kind of lighter design. So we worked with our designers and we came up with something I'm really happy with. It took us a while. We came up with a nice new design here, which you can see, and also the ability for you to just add your own logo. And this is optional, but if you want to add your own logo to the email, you can do that. By default, we show a map here, but you can replace it with your own picture or your logo or whatever you want on the emails. And so these are the feedback emails that you're sending to your customers. So when you're requesting feedback, these are the emails that they receive. And now you have a lot more control over those emails. And I'll show you that in a minute, how that looks. Also, we updated the feedback page designs. So all of those feedback pages, we also got a lot of feedback from you guys saying, hey, let us put our logo up here. Let us put a picture of maybe of our storefront or something, so that when someone receives this feedback, that once they receive the email and they say they want to leave us feedback, they land on a nice page that's branded for my business. And so that's what we've done. We've updated the design of this. We've got a new rating scale here that I think looks really sharp. We allow you now to upload this image, upload your logo, and again, these are optional. And then we provide your business information here. So we've got a nice looking feedback page. You'll also notice it looks great on mobile devices, just like all of GetFiveStars. Everything we do in the entire product, both customer facing and in the back end, we make sure that it will work, that it's fully responsive, so it's going to work for you on any device, because we know a lot of people use their mobile phones and their tablets for this kind of thing. So I see another question I just want to check. Alex is asking, regarding importing the Net Promoter Score in Google+, TripAdvisor, and Facebook, you get a summary of X reviews for 1 star. Could you easily calculate the NPS? You know, Alex, that I don't know if that would be... I mean, since it's only for internal reference, I suppose that's possible. We'd need to think about that. It's not a bad idea, really. It kind of gives you a nice view on where you're at. The thing is, what I don't want to do is try to import a lot of reviews, online reviews, into GetFiveStars, because really GetFiveStars isn't really meant to be a database of your online reviews. It's meant to be customer feedback that hopefully leads to online reviews. So I don't know, I'd have to think about that, but if you would follow up with us, I'd be glad to talk that through with you. And Alex is saying only importing the summary is all he's talking about. So I see what you mean. Yeah, we could talk about that. You know, get a hold of us afterward. Michael is saying, I really love the new design, specifically the customizations that I can do now. Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate that. I'm glad to hear that, because we worked a lot on this. So that's the new feedback page. And before I move on to the other, we got a lot of features here, by the way, which is fun. But let me just show you how these new feedbacks work. So basically, as you know, you can go into the system, send a feedback request, and I can either do this individually or I can select a whole bunch of people, but in this case, I'll just send one individually. And by the way, if you're not using this automatic communication method, let me just back up a minute. You should definitely check this out. You can set it on automatic. Basically, all you need to do is import your customer list. It's literally just first name, last name, and email. Import that, set your communication mode to automatic, and tell it how many emails you want to drip out per day. And then that you don't even have to worry about logging in and sending these, because we'll take care of it for you. But even if you're on the automatic mode, you can still override it. So even if this is set to automatic, you could still come in, add a customer manually, and then send them feedback requests. In fact, we added this new feature right here recently too, where I could just check this box, and as soon as I add this customer, then it'll automatically send them the feedback request. That's something I found myself wanting to do a lot. So, and then I heard some people that wanted that too. So anyway, just wanted to mention that. So Teresa is asking, so where do you upload the image and the logos? Jim is asking, when you say adding logos and photos to the feedback page is optional, does that mean that the ability to do so is an additional cost? No, Jim. So Teresa, I'm going to show you where you add those. And Jim, that's not an additional cost. All I meant when I said it's optional is that you don't have to do it. So if you, for example, did not upload the logo, let me switch back to my presentation. Let's say you didn't want to upload the your logo or this picture, then it still looks okay. All I'm saying is you don't have to do it. If you want to brand it, great. If you don't, this will still show your map, and then this won't display at all. Same thing on this page. If you don't upload a logo, that's fine. We just won't display anything there. It still looks great. And if you don't upload the picture, we still will display this strip with your business information, and it actually looks really nice. I can show that to you. So all I meant was if you didn't have the time or you didn't have a logo, it's okay, because we still designed it so it will look good for you. You don't have to do the logo. Josh is asking, what are the optimal sizes for the logo and the image? Good question. I will show you that right now, Josh. Thanks for asking. So let me go into the tool and show you where this stuff is. All right. I'm going to go to settings, and you're going to notice there are some more settings here. there are some more settings here, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I want to go to email settings because this is where I can upload those things I was just talking about. So if I scroll down to the bottom of my email settings, this is where I can upload the company logo right here. And this is where I can upload the email picture. All right. So what I'm talking about now are these things right here. I'm talking about the company logo and that goes in your feedback request email and the picture that goes in your feedback request email. So that's where you upload these things. We provide a nice example. If you want to see what what we're talking about, you can just click on this link down here that says see example. Right there's what I clicked on. Okay, and same thing down here for the email picture. So basically all you do is you select the image. You can clear it out if you don't like it. And we give you some, I don't know how well you can read this, but you can see it in your tool. We'll tell you, make a maximum width of 260 pixels. Or the ideal size for this image, for the picture, is 160 by 160. We do our best to resize it and make it look good if you don't use that size, but we're just telling you what the optimal sizes are for those images. So essentially, this is the place, and this is once again, this is in settings, email templates. And if I go in there, that's where I can upload these logos. And incidentally, while I'm here, I just wanted to show you that we did add another feature. This is where you can modify your feedback request email, and you can customize it. You can also modify the positive and the negative feedback emails that go out. And in the past, we didn't have the ability to update the subject on these two emails. And we've added that now. A lot of you asked for that and said, hey, I can modify the subject on the feedback request, but I couldn't modify it for these. So that was just an oversight. We've added that. So you have control over that. All right. So let me just go back to the questions and make sure I answered everything. Ed is saying automatic mode is working great for our customers. Cool. Thanks, Ed. I'm glad to hear that. I know a lot of people are saying that same thing, that the automatic mode is what really tipped it for them because they don't have to always be thinking about it. You just, every week or so, you upload a new customer list. It's on automatic mode. It's just kind of happening. You get alerted when somebody leaves you feedback and you're good to go. All right. Jim is saying, sweet, he likes it. Josh, good. I'm glad I answered your question. Jim is asking, can the business owner's name be removed from the feedback page header so that just the company name is displayed? All right, Jim, let me make sure I understand what you're talking about here. So let me go through the flow in real time so we can look at this. So I just showed you how you would modify your email, your feedback request email, to brand it. There's also settings in feedback settings where I can upload this other image, which is called the feedback page banner. So what I'm talking about now is once someone gets this email and they click give feedback, we take them to this feedback page. So now right now I'm talking about this image here. How do I upload that one? This again is on the feedback page. And that's in settings, feedback settings. And then I scroll down and then I can upload that image here. We again give you the size that, the desired size so that you have that. And then you can upload any image you want here. You can clear it out if you want to change it. But basically that's where so I wanted to just show you those because now I want to go and send a feedback request and just kind of show you this stuff. Right. So I just sent a feedback to basically click on it. As you know, you can modify this on the fly, send it out, the feedback goes out. And then what happens is your customer gets a nice email. Give me 1 second. Here's the email. Unfortunately, I've chose a logo that doesn't look that great because there's a black background. That was my fault. And then and then this is the picture, right? So this is what the actual email looks like that when the customer gets it. And then when they click give feedback, then it takes you to this page. And here's the other image that I uploaded. And essentially, this is my new feedback page here. And I think what Jim is asking is, let me verify. Do you mean you want to remove the name here? Just only leave the business name, but remove this name, the business owner's name. I think that's what you're asking, Jim. Is that correct? If that was your question, yes, we've had other requests for that, and we are working on that. It's easy for us to do, but that we're planning on removing that actually. Alex says it works great. Lindsay's saying my microphone is going out in and out. Can somebody verify with me if they can hear me okay? I just want to make sure the audio level's all right. Let me just, wow, I got a lot. Okay, Jim's saying I sound fine, loud and clear. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure we didn't have a problem. Sorry, Lindsay. Hopefully you're able to hear okay now. Mark is saying I have to jump on a call. This is super helpful. Thank you. Will there be a recording? Yes, we are recording it, and I will send out. We'll post the recording so that you guys have access to that. I'll find a way to get it to you guys. Ed is saying most of the help videos are quite helpful. However, is there going to be a video especially for the end user? It would be helpful for most of us to create our own videos promoting the product to the end user. Yeah, Ed, that's a good question. When you say to the end user, there's two things. First of all, one thing we've had a request for is to have an email so that when I'm in GetFiveStars and I'm working on something, let's say, for example, I'm setting up my email templates here. People have asked for a video that says, what is my end user going to see? And I think that's an excellent idea. I'm working on that video so that someone could just pop that up and play a short video, 30 seconds or less, that says, here's what your customer will see. And then it obviously wouldn't be your logo and stuff, but you'd at least get a feel for what the journey would look like for the customer. They're going to receive this feedback request email. They're going to click on provide feedback. Here's what the landing page looks like. Here's what happens when they click on the landing page. And we're going to basically do that video. And I'll do that in a generic way so that if you're white labeling, that everything will still look fine. But I think that would be important because, before you send an email, there's the ability to send a test email right here, which a lot of people use. But I think it would be nice to have that short video. So we're going to do that. Now, if your question was more around like a video that you could use for your end customers, follow up with me so that I understand what you mean, Ed. If you would just send an email to us, that would be great. I'm willing to help with that. The problem is I don't know how to make a video that has no branding in it whatsoever. And what do I call the product? What do I say that you do? That stuff's a little bit hard. We do have our video on the GetFiveStars homepage, the explainer video that got a lot of really good feedback. And I can put you in touch with the designer of that. We've worked out a deal with him so that he could produce a version of that without our branding in it. But it would cost some money to do that. So that's an option too. So follow up with us. I will be glad to work with you. Jim is saying right below that image is the company name, address, etc. In my account, the business owner's name is displayed. Can that be removed without removing the rights of the business owner? So yeah, Jim, I think that's what I think I understood you properly. Let me just go back there. I think, yeah, we're planning on removing this right here so that you still have the business name and address and phone number, but you don't have the business owner's name there. So that's coming. That'll be in the next day or two. We'll get that done. All right. Okay, Jim already confirmed that's what it was. Everybody says they can hear me fine. That's good. Chuck is saying, is sending out emails to customers the only way that you can get feedback or reviews to show up? Let's see. Annie is saying, Lindsay, if you're still having audio problems, you could actually dial in. You don't have to use the computer audio. That's a good point. If you go up to the audio section in the control panel, you can choose telephone instead of microphone and speakers, and it will give you a dial-in number you could use. Alex is saying yes to that video for the end user. Awesome. We're going to do that. That'll be coming soon. And then Phil is saying, I've done an end user video on my website. Wow, Phil, if you're willing to share that link with everybody, that'd be awesome. Ed's saying yes on the customer video. Cool. If you buy a white label option, does a support request go to GetFiveStars or to you? Scott, if you are white labeling Get5Stars, your customer support requests go to you. They shouldn't go to us because there's a branding issue, the customer would get confused. They go to you, they ask you for support, but we support you. So, and we also provide a user guide that you can brand if you want to grab. We will provide all the content that you can add your own branding to. Mark is saying, to show the flow of the customer experience, what about a flow chart inside of Get5Stars for us to see what our customers will see and links to the settings from each part of the flow chart? That's a cool idea. I'll have to think about that. We have a little bit of a flow chart actually that Mike has put together. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. It's he was just showing this to me, and here it is. It looks something like this, where he did a flow chart of like the positive review cycle and the negative review cycle. So I can imagine something like this, and then you're saying you click here, and then it jumps you over to the settings for that. Anyway, that's an interesting idea for sure. We could look at that. Any way to help people visualize the process, I think. Ed is saying, no, branding is fine with the Get5Stars branding. We can add our logo to add that info. Yep, great. Okay, very cool. Very good, So, good feedback. This is super helpful, you guys. I appreciate a lot giving us this feedback. All right, another thing is Facebook review monitoring. So one of the things that we have found, and I blogged about this, actually Mike Blumenthal did a bunch of research and found that Facebook is a very popular place for people to leave reviews now. In fact, in many cases is even more popular than Yelp to leave local business reviews when based on a customer survey. And we also found, so I wrote a blog post about this. I'll just show you real quick again on the Get5Stars blog. Let me just jump over there real quick and show you this, because it's kind of, I'll provide the link to you if you're interested. Basically, these results showed, give me 1 second here. Yeah, so the blog post is called Do People Look at Facebook Reviews? I'm going to put this in the chat window right now so that in case you want it, you guys can go there. So I just put that in the chat window. And basically, what we found is that Facebook is the number 2 place that people like to leave reviews, which surprised me, actually. I'm also citing an article that says 60% of consumers say they visit Facebook pages before buying in local stores. In another development, Google is now counting Facebook as a legitimate source of reviews. So my whole point here is that that the way the feedback process works for Get5Stars, well, you should be adding Facebook as a review option. And so what I mean by that is go to, when you go to your settings and you go to online review links, right in here, you can add, as you know, you can add all these different review services. Make sure that you have Facebook as an option in here. And go ahead and put in your Facebook URL. And the other thing you should do is we've added the ability now to monitor Facebook reviews for you. We can send you email alerts when you get a new review on Facebook. We can add it to your online review monitor report. But you have to do something first. You actually have to go down here to the bottom and say connect with Facebook and click this button. And you need to be a page administrator on that Facebook page. And here I'm not logged in, but the idea is I would click there, and then we've built an app that you can install that will allow us to monitor the Facebook reviews for you. And so that's a nice way to monitor. And by what I mean by Facebook reviews is, let me just go. I want to show you one. So here's a Facebook page for a business, and you can see here that she's got a lot of reviews. And if I click through on these, then it takes me to this place where people are leaving her reviews, and she can like these and comment on them and everything. So this is a really smart thing to do, even if you're not doing a lot of other things with your Facebook page, to have a local business page set up for reviews. And I explained that in this blog post, how to set that up. So if you want to know how to configure that in Facebook, you should do that. So my point is, we added this new capability. So now we wrote a Facebook app that allows you to monitor these reviews. And now if I go to if I go to my reports and go to my online review monitor report, as you know, we are already monitoring Google Plus reviews for you, Yelp reviews, City Search reviews, and now we will be monitoring Facebook reviews too. So that gives you can also sign up for alerts on these things. So here we go, and here you can see I'm getting a nice breakdown. You can see that I'm monitoring Facebook reviews now, and we're tracking those across time. And incidentally, if you want to sign up and I don't know if you know this, but you can get email alerts whenever you get a new online review on one of these services. We'll send you an email. Where you need to do though, and this is again a new feature, is we moved all of our notification settings under one place. So we have this thing called notification settings now. And you just go to there and it'll tell you everything, all the different types of alerts that you can receive and where you want, and you can specify the email you want them to go to. So the new online review alerts is here. The new performance report that I showed you, that new report, you can get that emailed to you on a weekly or a monthly basis if you want. So anyway, that's all under these settings, notification settings. Incidentally, I have a question for you. We've got quite a few settings panes now. I've had some people say, don't give me all these menu items, just give me one settings, and then when I go in there, group them so I have one long settings page that's grouped rather than a whole bunch of menu items here. I'd love to know what you guys feel about that. That's kind of how iOS works, is that they don't have all these menus. They just have one settings and you go in and it's all one long page with all the groups. But I'd be curious to know if you guys think that would be a better one. Phil had just shared the link to his page. Let me just chat that to you guys. I haven't seen this yet, but I'll put the link in here. Looks like he made a video about GetFiveStars for his customers. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Phil. I just put it in the chat window, so you should all see that. Teresa's saying, when I get a customer feedback, it shows up right under review next to the 5 stars. Why is there 2 different windows where their feedback is typed into? Gosh, I'm sorry, Teresa. I'm not able to visualize what you're talking about. When I get customer feedback, it shows up right under review next to the 5 stars. Why is there 2 different windows? Ah, gosh. Let me see. I don't know. Maybe if you could give us a screenshot or something maybe after this, I would love to see it. I'm looking in here where I've got feedback. You know what you might be talking about is we used to okay, so we only collect one box, okay, but then we try to make a title from that, and I think we show that. Darn, this one didn't leave any text. I should choose a different one here so I can show you what I mean. Let me see this one. We've got some actual text in there. So you can see that we try to break this up so that we've created a title and then the actual review text. I don't know if that's what you mean. The customer only types it in once, but we try to break it out into a title. Maybe that just for easier display. I'm not sure if that was your question. If not, just let us know. And then let us know. Just support at GetFiveStars.com and we'll follow up with you and answer that question, Teresa. Alex is saying, out of his experience, customers are much easier in leaving Facebook reviews than Google Plus or other review sites. I agree, Alex. I think that's part of the issue. Is a lot of times people, maybe they want to leave you a review, but they don't have a Google Plus account, or they're not an avid Yelper. But most people have a Facebook account. In fact, they're usually already logged in. So if they click on your feedback link and go to Facebook, boom, it's just super easy. They don't have to do anything but leave your review and a rating, and that's it. So I agree, Alex. I think that's why Facebook is becoming so popular. Kathleen is saying there's a relatively new business manager function for Facebook. Does Get5Stars integrate with that? The new business pages stuff that I saw recently, Kathleen, was more about advertising. It was more like an advertising dashboard. But if you want to follow up with, I'm glad to explore that with you if you mean something different. What I do know, though, is we actually built an app, and this is the only way that Facebook will allow you to get that review data. So if I look at these reviews, this text, everything, you cannot even crawl this. Facebook has anti-crawl technology built in. But if you install an app, like we wrote this Facebook app, and you give our app permission, we then can monitor these reviews for you. And so that's a pretty clean integration with Facebook. I don't know how else. I mean, if you have other ideas on how you would like to see us integrate, let us know. But so there's two things going on here, just so that I'm clear. So I want to make sure I do a good job of explaining this. When I leave feedback here, like let's say, let me say I leave some positive feedback and I submit it, then we have from here the ability to leave your, to give you the direct Facebook link so that I can click it and it takes me to the Facebook page. And then we also have the ability to monitor when you get reviews on Facebook, so that we'll give you an alert and we'll put it in your report. So that's what we're doing in terms of our Facebook integration. Keenan says, cool, that looks good. Paul is saying, I thought I saw a slide with a Get5 survey showing 1 to 10, but NPS is 0 to 10. Did I see that wrong? Rescaling to 1 to 10 means changes the meaning. Yeah, Paul, that's a very good observation. You're absolutely right. NPS actually is 0 to 10. We're looking at that. A lot of people use 1 to 10 because it's easier to map to that 5-point scale for 5-star scale. So that's why we're doing it, but we can talk about that. If you want, I can kind of fill you in on the background on how that works. But I still think, for our purposes, it gives you a good read on the customer, on your positive customers, on your promoters, and also maps nicely into, a 1 to 5-star rating. Michael's responding to my question for you guys about the settings. He's saying he prefers the organization. So my question was, under the settings page, would you rather have them broken out as separate menu items or just have one settings where I go into and everything is in there? So, okay, thanks, Michael, for that. Scott says, thank you, Phil, for sharing your video. Teresa's saying, review title is where they start. Then they go into the next black box to finish their review. That is what I'm talking about. Actually, so Teresa, yeah, what happened is we changed that. So when you leave a review now, let me try and go back here to where I was. I just left one, right? Let me back up. We only have one box now. We used to have the title and the review, and we changed it to remove that title box. So we only have the one box now that they type in their information. And then we derive the title based on that if we ever need to use the title somewhere. So we used to have two boxes here. Now we have one. Now, the only exception is if I leave negative feedback or non-positive feedback, and you can set what this threshold is. By default, it's anything 7 or below, but you can change it. Then we ask them another question that says, what could we have done to make your experience better? So that's separate, and we record that separately because what we're trying to give you is a little bit more information on what the problem was, and what they would like to see, so that when you do get this negative feedback, you have something to go on when you call or email your customer. But I think, Teresa, that's what you were thinking of. We used to ask for both a title and a review. Now we just ask for the review text. Lindsay's saying she likes this setting separately as well. Good stuff. Mark is saying, since most folks will only write one review asking for a rating only, and then taking them to social links can be very helpful. Is there any way to set the system on autopilot so that some are asked for rating only and others are asked for a narrative? Well, let me show you, Mark, what we did there. That's a good question. So I think what Mark is saying is that in this screen, here you're asking for this information, then you're submitting the feedback, right? And then you're asking for an online review. He's saying, is there any way to sort of change, to vary this? Yes. Let me show you what we've done. We've got a setting in here that you go to settings, feedback settings. And by the way, most of you are chiming in saying you'd like these to remain separate. Okay, that's good feedback. Thank you. Go to feedback settings, and I can change this to ask for rating only. All right. And when you do this, it means you're going to get a rating in your email is going to look different. Instead of taking them to another page, you're asking for rating right inside of the email. Let me show you what that looks like. So I'm going to send another review request here. So it'll take just a second for me to get it, and then I'll show you what we're doing. So once we get that email, which I'm going to show you here in 1 second, as soon as I find my email, I've got too many tabs open here. I'm getting a little bit confused. So bear with me for just a second while I find my email. Okay, so here it is. Now I changed that setting to ask for rating only, and here now you're noticing that we are only asking you the question, how likely is it that you would recommend our company to a friend or colleague? And by the way, this is a new feature. In the past, we didn't include this. And so sometimes when you added the rating to your email, like by checking that box I just checked, then it was confusing because people are like, well, what am I rating it on? So now this actually comes in along with the rating scale. They come together now just to make it easier for you so you don't have to worry about it. So basically, if I select now, I say, okay, yeah, I would definitely recommend you. That's a positive promoter type response. So now what we've done is we still present you with whatever social network, I mean review links that you want to include here, and you can reorder them and everything just like before. But we also have this option called send your review directly to us, and this is where you can ask them now for the narrative, and they can get the narrative, and that's what you can use as a testimonial. So we're basically just switching the order in case you want to place more of an emphasis on the online reviews. You can still ask for this. So I'm glad you asked that question because that highlights another feature I wanted to talk about. Jim is saying, how many review site options do you think is optimal to offer to a user? Jim, it's a good question. We found one thing I can tell you, Mike did a bunch of research and found that if you offer more than one, then you tend to get more responses than if you offer only one. So that we know for sure. I also feel like if you add too many, then you kind of have that paradox of choice issue. I like to keep it around 2 or 3, and then I change them depending on what I want to focus on, right? So that's where I would recommend keeping it. But I would definitely do more than one, and I would tend not to do too many unless you're a certain type of a business where there's a wide variety of sites that people want to leave your reviews on. And even in that case, I would recommend just kind of rotating. And you know how you do that, right? Is if I go into my Get 5 Stars here, and I go to my online review links settings, I can easily turn some of these off, right? Like I can uncheck this and leave it there, but now it's not going to show up on my page. Or I can start reordering easily by drag and drop. I can say, I want to really focus on Facebook for a while. I've got it way down here. Let me move that up. Get Facebook and Google right at the top. Maybe, sorry, it's kind of awkward dragging this. Yeah, so I can do things like that and make it easy to move around. So that is that's how I would manage it. Paul, could we talk about the scaling issue? I know quite a bit about NPS, and I've read the Harvard Business School and Fred Reichheld's book. If you change the scale, then you can't say the 9 or 10 are promoters. Please, let's talk about this. All right, Paul, I'd be glad to talk with you about it. NPS is something that we're excited about too. So I see you left me your phone number there, and if you would, I will try to follow up today. If you would just shoot an email to support@getfivestars.com, that way it'll get in our ticketing system, and I'll make sure that we'll get back to you. But I do have your phone number here too. Patricia is asking, do you have TripAdvisor as an option? Yes, we do. We have TripAdvisor right here. So you can add that profile anytime you want. We have a whole bunch of them. And if there's a review source that you're not seeing here that you want to see, let us know. And it's pretty easy for us to add those. We have a whole bunch of them here, even for Canada and other countries. And so we can add those in if you need to. Keenan is saying you should let us edit the question asked in the feedback only request. You can. So here's the deal, Keenan. I hear you're saying, you can totally edit that feedback request email, right? So you get control over that email template right here. That's all of this, right? You can change all of that. But what I don't want to do is that question. I don't think it's a good idea to change that because it's then it changes what the scale means, right? This is really important. This is a special question, and if you were to change this, then the rating, these belong together, I think. And you don't have to use it, by the way, in the email, but they belong together. And I wouldn't want to change this question because then what they click on here could mean something different. Mark is saying, are there any online sites that do not require logins in order to leave a review that you can recommend to us? Mark, gosh, most of them are requiring logins now, especially the important ones. They are requiring logins because they had too much problem with review spam. So I think that's why I think Facebook is a good way to go, because most people have a Facebook account already. Or we even did some tests with sending requests to Gmail, like looking at your customers and only filtering out and only sending the emails to the Gmail customers and putting Google as a review option, thinking, hey, we know they have a Gmail account, so they probably have or can get into the Google Plus to leave us a review. That did not necessarily affect the reviews that we got. The thing we've seen that affects the number of reviews we get are having more than one option and looking at Facebook as a review source. Kathleen says, if you send the 1 to 10 score in the email, is there a review threshold which the reviewer doesn't get the option to go to the external sites? Yes, Kathleen. The way you change that, and this works for the landing page as well, is you go to Settings, Feedback Settings, and you can say Positive Feedback Page Threshold. So you choose, the default is 7, but you choose whatever that is. You could make it 8 or 9, whatever you want, all the way from 0. And Paul, to answer your question, we are using the 0 in here. We're just not displaying that on the scale. We'll talk about that when we chat. But so you change that threshold, and that affects not only the score in the email, also the one on the landing page. So you get to decide when do I send them to the positive feedback page or the not non-positive one. Paul, absolutely, that would be the way to handle the transformation. The right color research scales this. You don't want to monkey with it. Yeah, I got you, Paul. I totally agree. Can a negative review be blocked? Chuck is asking, can a negative review be blocked? Well, Chuck, here's the deal. When we're leaving these reviews, the whole point of it is that we're asking, this is a private process at first. That's the reason we're doing it this way, so that right away after the interaction or the sale, you follow up with your customer and ask them how we did, right? And you identify any problems right away. And this is private. So they leave you some bad feedback. That's okay, right? Because now you've captured the problem and you understand what went wrong, and you can contact that customer and address it for them, right? And like I said, over 90% of the cases we've seen it's just a simple misunderstanding, and customers want to be listened to. And when you listen to them, you can usually solve the problem for them to their satisfaction. And this avoids that negative review on Yelp or Google or Facebook or wherever, because now you've solved the problem. The issue is if you're not asking, you don't even know, right? You don't even know that customer might never come back, or worse, they might never come back and leave you a negative review. And so the idea for this process is identify who's happy, identify who's not happy, address the people that are having an issue, and invite the people who are happy to leave you a testimonial and leave you an online review. So what I want to do is just finish up the presentation. There are a few more features I'm going to fly through. I probably won't have a chance to demo them all to you because we're running short on time, but you can definitely answer more questions. So bring those on. I love these questions. All right, Google Plus reviews on mobile devices. One of the challenges in the past, Google does not allow you to leave easily to leave a review. So let's say your customer gets a feedback request email from you. They're using they're on their iPhone. They click on the link, and then they follow through and they try to go to Google to leave you a review. They, in the past, couldn't do that unless they had the Google Maps app installed on their phone, and they try to access your business and search for it through there. What we've done is figured out how to present the URL to them so that they can actually leave the review from a mobile device. And we do this for you automatically. So we automatically convert your Google Plus URL. We detect if they're on a mobile device, and we modify the URL so that they can leave you the review on Google. So that was a big thing a lot of people asked for, and I was really pleased when we figured that out. The unified notification settings, I just showed you guys that earlier, trying to just pull all those into one spot so you don't have to hunt through the system and figure out how to sign up or turn off notifications via email. So that's a lot of people asked for that. The rating scale we talked about. And then the other thing is campaign tracking. Last thing I just want to show you is that I think someone else asked earlier, what are the other ways I can interact with the system? Well, you probably know this already, and if you don't, this is a really good thing. Let me just show you. Let's say that you have an existing system that's sending out emails to your customers, and you're not going to use ours to send them out. I can go into feedback settings and get a unique URL for my business, right? I can go in here, and we have this this feedback URL right here that says that you can put in your email signature, you can put it on a postcard, you can put it in anywhere you want, and if anyone clicks on this URL, it takes them directly to your unique feedback page. All right, so that's cool. What we've done is we've added the ability to track campaigns. So what a lot of people wanted to do is they wanted to go and put this URL on a postcard, but they want to know how many people are clicking on it from the postcard versus my newsletter, for example. So what we did is we added the ability to do campaign tracking. So I can go here and I can type in this URL, and then I can add something to the end called source equals newsletter. That's all I need to do, and I can name this whatever I want. Okay, this could be, so it's question mark, source equals newsletter, question mark, whatever. I can do this. I can even make this into a short URL if I want to use tiny URL or something like that. And now anyone who comes here, we're going to track that and show you. So for example, now if I go to my reports and I go to my customer feedback report and I scroll down to the bottom, here it's telling me that four people clicked on that newsletter link, and 2 of them on the business card one, 2 on the QR code. So basically it allows me to break out and track different campaigns so I know which ones are effective in terms of driving people to my feedback page. So that's something that we had asked for some of our larger clients wanted. And so it's a nice way to be able to track that information and know which campaigns are working. So already did a demo there. We had a bunch of other little features, but obviously, I can't cover everything. But if you have any questions about these features, also if you want to see new features, we always love to hear from you guys. And as you can tell, we're listening. We're always adding. I think that's one of the factors that we're excited about, is the fact that we can move pretty fast in evolving this product and adding cool new functionality, based on your feedback, based on things that we discover watching a lot of you use the product, and also based on things that are happening in the industry. Phil's saying ABC News did a piece on a dentist using a Yelper for a negative review. Okay. I haven't read this yet, but I will put it in the chat window so you guys can check it out. That sounds cool, Phil. Appreciate that. All these things are sharing. Michael saying, thanks for the demo. Awesome. You're welcome, Michael. Kathleen is saying, does the unique feedback page act as a citation for local business? No, the unique feedback page does not, Kathleen. However, what does act as citation are the actual testimonials that you embed on your website. So if you're not doing this, you definitely want to go to feedback settings, testimonials widget, and grab this code and put it on your website, because that stuff can help you. So I'll give you an example. Here's a customer who's using GetFiveStars, and I'm going to do a search. This is her testimonials page, not her Google page. And you can see these stars are listing under here. These are rich snippets, because basically it's showing and it's saying, hey, this testimonials page has reviews on there, and we're crawling those. In fact, you can see that Google over here is even considering that a source for reviews for this business. And if I click through to this, you'll see that's not her Google Plus page. This is actually her testimonials page that is using our widget. So these are all testimonials that were left by customers through GetFiveStars. So it's adding unique content to your website that's being crawled by Google. And we're also marking this up as rich snippets in a special format that Google crawls and understands. And I'll show you what I'm talking about there. Google has a tool called the Rich Snippets Testing Tool. And if I put her testimonials page in here and do a preview, you'll see that Google is recognizing those rich snippets and it's understanding, hey, customers have come here and left reviews, and we're recognizing that. So That's pretty cool. I think that's when you talk about a citation, that's a very powerful thing for our system to do, is allow you to add that content onto your webpage. And by the way, you have control over which testimonials show up there. If you want to feature certain testimonials, you do that right here with this little slider. So you can do that. You can also automatically approve testimonials to your website in your feedback settings. You can say auto approve feedback, anything that's a 7 or higher, to go to the website. So we have that too. All right, Scott's saying that is awesome. Thank you, Scott. Alex is saying we offer marketing services to the hospitality industry in the Caribbean, and their particular uses for that industry in particular uses reviews and reputation management. It's also very multi-language. I would like to have multi-language email templates and an extra field in the client port to include language. Yeah, you know what, Alex? I hear you. We are looking at that. We've been asked that a lot, to have the customer-facing pieces of the system be able to be translated into other languages. And that's something that is on our roadmap. And I don't have a date for you yet, though, but I definitely hear you, and that's something that we're looking at and we're getting asked for more and more. Phil is saying, oh, that article means this dentist is suing a Yelper. You know what I thought was actually funny? There was another article recently about it's an Italian restaurant who got so fed up with Yelp that they started offering their customers coupons if they would leave them a bad review on Yelp. Like they said, leave us a 1-star review on Yelp and we're going to give you like a free appetizer or something. They were just trying to blow up the whole Yelp thing because they were so frustrated with Yelp. Ed is asking, are the slides you just showed going to be available for download? You know what, Ed? I think these are better. The feature updates blog post here, which let me put that link in here, but I have the screenshots and a much more expanded description of each of the features in this blog post. So I would recommend you check this out. This would be a better way to review them than probably the slides that I have. So let me just paste this into the chat window there for you. Anyway, if there was something in particular you want to just follow up with me and I'll get it to you. But I think that's probably even better. Can you call it reviews instead of testimonials? Kathleen, that's a good point. If you go to this, you're going to notice that this page is labeled reviews and testimonials. The reason for that, I would always label this page reviews and testimonials. And the reason for that is that a lot of times people will type in business name space reviews, and you'll have a better chance of this page showing up in the Google search results if you do that. Keenan is saying, if we transfer a client over from another review system, did you say there's a way to import the existing reviews? Yes, Keenan, let us know. We can work with you on that. Kathleen is saying, I saw our Barbara's reviews, the ones that are being indexed by Google, the ones that were feedback through Get5Stars and not for Google. Yeah, that's right, Kathleen, they are. Let me just show you something. So this page right here, if you look, there's a couple of different things here. Right here, these are the Google reviews, right? This is what Google is saying are Google reviews. These are ratings basically from the website. So they're two different things. And not all websites get this, by the way. This page on the website has enough Google authority that Google recognizes and it respects it. If it's a brand new website, it takes time for that to build up. But they are two different things. And I think that's an important feature of our product, is that we're utilizing the rich snippets to make this result possible and give you good content, evergreen content on your website from your customers, right? I mean, that's another problem a lot of business websites have, is updating it. And why not take your customer testimonials and allow them to add these things to your website? So Ed's saying he read the article about the Italian restaurant. That was pretty funny. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, everybody, we're over. I really appreciate you guys staying on for this and coming to this webinar. We're going to do more of these. I can see there are a lot of questions going on. One last thing I want to just point out is that the 2014 local search ranking factors report is out. Just search for local search ranking factors. There's a section in there on reviews, comments from the different contributors to this report. And this is just a wealth of information about ranking for local businesses with location-based businesses. So check that out if you want. Thanks for all your great questions. We'll be doing another one of these soon, and don't hesitate to follow up with us just at support@getfivestars.com with anything that you didn't get answered today, and we would love to hear from you. So thanks so much for coming, and we'll talk to you soon.